Alrighty, welcome back to Aloshinura. We're going for the Flashmarkets. We weren't finished there yet. And then inevitably we have to get higher to the upper city. To the harem of 1,000 delights. I am selling death itself. He's a slave trader, of course. Death lurks in my gladiators' hands and in their eyes. They can kill you so swiftly you will not even see them strike. They can kill so slowly their opponent's death makes the spectators shiver in ecstasy. And they embrace their own death with such dignity that their names soar from the lips of the crowd into the dark sky, straight into the hands of merciful death. The gladiators, a mix of all races, do indeed look tough and dangerous. Their powerful bodies, bloodthirsty gazes, and deft yet casual grips of their weapons show them to be true masters of their art. They resemble a pack of predators at rest before a bloody hunt, where they will rip and tear until it is done, and gut their prey. The glances they exchange are amiable but not warm, for tomorrow each might have killed the other one in front of the screaming crowd. There is glory to be gained by fighting in the arena, you say? There certainly is. The gladiator fights are the most popular entertainment here in Aloshinura. There's no better way to acquire fame and glory than to step into the battle bliss and take another's life. If your slaves are that good in a fight, why don't they rebel and free themselves? The arena's their home, the other gladiators their family, and the fight's their sole purpose in life. Fighting is their only path to glory and a carefree life of luxury. But to win in the arena you need a distinguished and influential master who will provide you with an experienced trainer, good weapons, decent fair food, and skillful lovers to salve your wounds. But would such a distinguished and influential demon take on just any no-name wannabe? No, of course not. That's why, when a demon wishes to purchase a gladiator for the arena, they come to me. And the best fighters pay enormous sums to become my slaves and trainees, and their only hope of making it to the top. I'll buy your gladiators. Smiling, the gladiator's bellowing battle cry, the slaver examines you with a sharp look. Straps of the mask tighten slightly, making the skin wrinkle. Finally he nods. You look genuine. You are a killer. I suppose I can sell you my gladiators. 35,000 gold coins for the 35,000 enemies they'll kill in your honor in the arena. Deal. The gladiators bow before you with dignity. Their faces shine with bloodthirsty smiles. Where would you like us to go? To the battle bliss, I presume? Wait, what? Freeing them, giving them choice is chaotic? Okay, we're an angel. We need to choose the good path. Explain to the gladiators how to get to the Nexus. Wait for me there. Gladiators look at you with surprise, exchanging whispers among themselves. Master, do you doubt our fighting skills? Would you like us to continue training in your camp? Under your supervision, believe us, we are ready to conquer the arena. We'll prove ourselves worthy. Brothers and sisters, grab your weapons. Head to the camp of our new master, double time in full gear. If anyone falls behind, kill them. Death to the weak. What the... Okay. My 3 skilled gladiators. I'm afraid my... not yet fully trained. Okay, yeah, we just bought what he had in store.
I do what I must.
Ramissa, the slave trader. The eyes of the translucent Merilith carefully observe her surroundings. It seems this is not merely an image, but a projection of the creature's consciousness, while their physical body is located somewhere far from here. Next to the Merilith fidgets a shriveled mandragora, which utters the occasional displeased shriek. Ah, a visitor from another plane. I am Ramissa, also known as Slocht. I've no idea how to pronounce that. Skin. And I am no simple vendor, but a true artist of the slave trade. My warehouses currently stand empty, but we can always arrange for a custom order. What would you like to acquire? Perhaps your enemy's son or daughter, bound by magic and powerless in the face of anything you might wish to do to them? An attractive person who once dared reject you? The little brat who bullied you as a child? Aloshinira is the city where all your dreams come true. The Merilith licks her lips, especially if they are dirty, bloody and sweet dreams of possession or revenge. What do you mean by artist of the slave trade? While others trade for material gain, I do it for art. Unlike others, I am not involved in the faceless shipment of goods. Each slave who passes through my hands has a personality. Each sale is a spiritual experience. Not long ago, I sent my hunters to track down and capture a brave rebel fighting for the freedom of his people. And then I sold him, chained and dressed, as a pleasure slave to the tyrant who had enslaved his homeland. Some may call it cliché, but I call it classic. So, what I see standing here is just your projection? Certainly. It is not safe to appear in the Flashmarkets in person, especially for someone like me. You see, before I switched to this line of work, I was a humble gardener. I used to grow mandragoras. Merilith pats her ugly pet on the head. It is a well-known fact that mandragoras grow if you water an ordinary weed with demon blood, or if you plant it in a demon's corpse. The allies, lovers, and masters of those I turned into fertilizer are still searching for me. Thus I conduct my business remotely. In the same way, when I have slaves to sell, I first show their projections, and only after they are sold do I deliver them to the buyer. Yeah, I'm leaving. What else do we have? There's a guard. Oh. Jaws of the Jackal. Oh. Where summons a Thenna demon. I don't really care about the effect, but the looks of it could be very fitting for our friend Reggie. Ah, perfect. Exactly. Fitting gloves. Very good. Nice. No. Perfect. Still need hands for him, of course. Even though the ones that belong to the armor are fine. They're not the greatest, but they're also not bad. Yeah, that looks terrible. Okay. What else do we have here? We talk to him. Air method. Reggie. Or Reggie. Slave for every need. They don't last long, but the price is not high. A Cambion who gives you a smarmy bow. Looks like he once tried to split in two, then changed his mind. His chest is twice as wide as it should be, and double pupils stare at you from each of his eyes. Every time this freakish creature opens his mouth, an oppressive goiter swells on his neck. His voice has an unpleasant, croaking quality, as if a giant toad had taken up residence in his throat. Would you like to buy some fresh flesh? Fresh flesh? You can call me Reggie. I am at your service. Or Reggie. Who are you and what are you selling? Everybody calls me Reggie, and the name's just fine by me. I'm the top vendor here at the Flashmarkets, no matter what the others think. They sell expensive, classy goods, whereas I specialize in rabble and riffraff. My goods cost 10 times less than what the others are selling, but I have 100 times more clients than everyone else. Everybody needs a slave. Cheap, maybe slightly defective, but still a slave. Big shots from the upper city prefer to do business with the others, but so what? The middle city feeds me much better. Reggie raises his voice for the last part. He noticed that the demon standing nearby cast cautious glances at the insolently grinning Cambion. It seems this shabby specimen has some authority here after all. Besides, I don't just sell live goods, I sell the stuff that used to belong to these poor fools as well. You'll find some extremely valuable and interesting items among the loot taken during the slave raids. The casual nod to what Amber, the demon grimaces with disgust. Incidentally, I'm willing to take the crippled waif off your hands. If you expect to sell her yourself, don't bother. No one will want to buy such a puny thing, but I can add her to my lot of Golarian slaves. You are mistaken. Ember smiles cheerfully. Show me your slaves. I can offer you a shipment of Golarian slaves. They certainly aren't in the best shape. Golarians are notorious for their fragility, but torturing them, I'm sure, is fun. As Reggie grins, you sport at least 2 rows of needle-sharp teeth in his mouth. The Golarian slaves are clad in torn rags, their bodies emaciated, many have wounds and cuts. Their blank indifference to everything happening around them suggests these unfortunates lost any hope of escape long ago. Sela looks at the slaves with pain in her eyes. Oh, you poor souls, what have they done to you? It is over now, we'll help you. Where are you from? We come from all over, my lady Paladin. Most of us were captured back in Kinabris. As for me, I got caught on my way to Nerosi, and I was on leave, going to visit my family. Whoa, that's quite a journey you had, but you will get to Nerosian and see your family again, I swear on my life. You hear me? Hold tight and tell the others not to lose heart. Sela turns to you and says gravely, we must get them out of here at all costs. We can't abandon our own. If we did, we'd be worse than scum. Arushale's presence caused a rumble of discontent among the slaves. She flinches under their angry and hateful gazes. She opens her mouth to say something, but fails to find the right words and just sadly lowers her eyes. Winged bitch! What are you looking at? Seizing the moment and deftly spitting at the method in the cage, Reggie nods at him. If you wish, you can also purchase this little brighter. He won't be of much use, but you can entertain yourself for some time torturing him. He's sharp-tongued and quite resilient. I guarantee you'll spend several interesting and pleasant evenings killing this little freak. Chuckling, Reggie watches as the method wipes the spit from his face and mutters curses under his breath. The method's voice is angry, but tinged with respect. I'll buy the Golarian slaves. The pupils flicker with greed. After feigning indecision, Reggie finally states, 15,000 gold coins. I won't accept any less. I can get 15,000 selling those wretches as meat. Except... What the... Reggie looks at one of the slaves who can barely stand. With a subtle motion he throws a spell that slits the unfortunate's throat as if it used a serrated knife. Reggie spits in disgust at the body on the ground. He doesn't even bother to wipe the splashes of blood from his face. That one was completely defective. It would be a shame to offer it to a respectful buyer. The heavy silence of the hand of the inheritor is almost palpable. It fills the air like the calm before the storm, and the angel's voice explodes in your head, roaring and furious like a battle horn. He killed him like an animal. Oh heaven, I knew I was descending into the depth of evil, but there must be a limit. There must be a limit to it all. If not today, then someday, I will descend into this den of sin and punish the murderers and save their victims. Should we give him gold or just attack him and kill him? Maybe tomorrow he will have other slaves that we can free. Deal. The slaves look at you with hope. They're drained but not yet broken. One captive, who looks even worse than his peers, almost falls, but his friends prop him with their shoulders. One of the slaves, a scrawny young man with a crippled leg and a hungry, wolfish face, slowly gets down on one knee before you. May the gods bless you, my lord. They've sent you to help us. We'll pray for you as long as we live. Reggie doesn't raise his voice, but it acquires the steely edge of a commander addressing their troops. Who is the leader of the group? Are there any among you who have served the military? The young man salutes with the painful pride of a defeated but as yet unbroken soldier. Corporal Gottwerk of the Vanguard Scouts reporting for duty, sir. The young man throws a sharp look at his comrades and They seem to immediately change, their backs become ramrod straight, and the bleak submission in their eyes is replaced by that familiar, solid, soldiery tenacity that seems to stay. Screw you. As you were. I can see you've been through a great deal, but the reinforcements are finally here, and you can proceed on the commander's lead. Reggie salutes the freed soldiers, swift and abrupt, like a saber strike. You can take refuge at my camp. Ah, Yomidi bless you. Thank you for standing up for us. We'll never forget your kindness. The ragged slaves huddle in a tight group and hurry toward the exit. They are frightened and tired, but you can see a glimmer of hope and defiance in their eyes. You did as every true Galarian should, by saving the people from your home world from slavery. Thanks to people like you, my heart holds no doubt that we will emerge victorious from this struggle. Alrighty. Anything else for us to do here? Cinderbloom, blah blah blah. Carrots. Don't we know him? A tough-looking demon with a rough, cruel face and the hands of a seasoned warrior greets you with a grin. Looking to buy slaves, eh? I've just sold off the shipment I captured during the last raid. I'm Kurtz, captain of a bloody bitch. Who are you? The demon stares at you in disbelief, then bursts into laughter. Who am I? I'm Kurtz. Oh, we read about him when we came to the abyss, the book, and the water at our back. I'm Kurtz, known by some as Kurtz got stabbed, captain of the legendary bloody bitch. I'm the most famous damn pirate in the Midnight Isles. You must be a landlubber who's never set foot aboard an airship if you haven't heard of me. Tell me more about being a pirate. What exactly do you want to know? The life of a pirate's ship captain consists of four things. His vessel, his crew, his experience, and Paizo's patronage, of course. You already have wings of your own. Why do you need a flying ship? Kurtz eyes you with suspicion, as if searching for signs of mockery in your face. Sure, and what do you propose I do with all the loot? Carry it on my back? What about the slaves we chuck in the cargo hold? The ship is a big flying treasure chest, and it also provides a fair amount of cover from arrows and spells that rain down on us during boardings. Tell me about your vessel. Kurtz grins proudly. You'll recognize my bloody bitch right away by the huge skull decorating her prow. We secured that trophy near Vazglar, and there was a great fight for it. A few other captains wanted to lay their hands on it as well. Aside from the skull, I've done good work on the bloody bitch. You can't find a better attack vessel. Her broadside can take a dragon strike, her three-quarter sail can catch any wind, and her ballistae don't rely on lousy spears, only alchemical fire. What kind of crew do you have on board? All the toughest rogues and cutthroats you could ever want. They're my hand-picked collection, each one as bad as the next. I have the most notorious rubble, the most infamous scoundrels you could ever find in the abyss. They'd sell their own mothers into slavery for a chipped copper. Turn on me? Never. Nobody else could land them a better deal than I can. If they ditched me, they wouldn't make it 3 steps before taking a knife in the back. So they've got no choice but to follow me till the end. So how many ships have you plundered? Puffing out his chest a little, the demon offers a fanged, leering grin. Then answers with all the cutthroat swagger he can muster. The bloody bitch is well known in the Midnight Isles, and her black sail sows terror wherever she goes. I can't even count how many poor sods I've sent to Dagon. I was leading the charge, saber in hand, back in the days when Velexia was flashing her bare tits in the skies over Alushanira, and when Sifrayan, an old rapscallion, ruled the city. As for loot, the treasures that passed through my hands, and I spent them all on booze. Cat beams with pride at this declaration. Tell me a thrilling tale. The pirate grins. You like gory stories, eh? Fine. Once we were floating by Migor. On our lookout, spotted the wreckage of a ship caught in a hurricane. So we decided to search for cargo, but instead we only found a sailor who was clutching at the wreckage. We fished him out, brought him to his senses, hung him up on the mast, and questioned him properly. Our ship's cook knows how to loosen tongues with his knife. Long story short, the poor sort spilled that he was a pirate himself. His ship had set sail from one of Alia's deserted islands, where they hid part of their spoils. We smelled a windfall, so we rushed to Alir. But Alir, that place isn't for the faint-hearted. Predatory vines, carnivorous flowers that... What the heck? Sorry, there was an ant on my finger. How did it get there? The heck? Never mind. Breathe out clouds of poisonous pollen and walking bushes that surround you, pounce on you and sting you with thorns till you die. Oh, and did I mention toxic springs, or the flies that crawl into your ears while you sleep and lay their eggs inside your brain, driving you insane? All in all, the place was a nightmare, and we found ourselves right in the middle of it all. 3 times our prisoners told us where to check for the stash. Each time we dug, but all we found were dirt and bones. By the 3rd attempt, that damned island had already wiped out half the crew. We realized that Asel was playing us, so we gutted him. You know what we saw then? All his entrails were covered with whitish mold and overgrown with some spongy fungus. His heart, his guts, his brain, the gunk was everywhere. According to our ship's dock, that fungus controlled every one of the sailors' steps. He got infected on Lalier, then he left the island to lure in fresh fodder for the plants. We fled as fast as we could, but for a long, long time. I couldn't believe those damned weeds got so smart they were able to trick us. That's certainly a disturbing tale. You mention Pazuzu quite often. Do you worship him? Ah, sure I do. Only total idiots don't worship the demon lord of the sky and winged creatures. Well, at least if we are talking about aeronauts. All the storms, wind currents, and beasts who feed on those currents, they all bend to his will. That's why I bombard Lord Pazuzu with my prayers for as often as I can. I don't like you, I keep... I have to go. May Pazuzu fill your sails with wind, stranger, but no more than mine. What is that? Okay, that's mildly buggy. Okay. Chivaro. Dionk the slave trader.
I'm gone.
A grotesquely fat demon speaks to a demoness standing in front of him, his voice irritated yet slightly sycophantic. If you want to get the sweetest Asimas for the 10,000 delights, cough up 50,000. Just look at how delicious they are. These girls haven't yet been whipped. Your clients will be clamoring for them, and after they become too worn out, they make a magnificent stew. I'll give you 30 if you stop talking rubbish, Dionk. Or keep going and you can clear steer of my palace of delights. You can please yourself on your own, you fat chunk of rotten meat. Do you want to get on Chivaro's bad side? Do you really want that? Well, the Asima slaves standing nearby tried to avoid looking at the angry demoness. Even in their miserable position, they retain the mark of impurity and nobility inherent to their kind. Puffing himself up, the fat demon answers abruptly and angrily, 50,000. For these delightful, innocent creatures you shabby and worn-out demonesses can't hope to compete with. That is my final offer. Stay away from the 10,000 delights. You can have your own little morsel to pleasure you from now on, you greedy horned piece of shit. The disgustingly fleshy demon greets you with a wave, his arm is encased in roll after roll of fat. Allow me to present my living wares, the finest household slaves to serve you and entertain your body and spirit, and they can satiate even the most exquisite cravings. The demon accompanies his last claim with voluptuous lip smacking, looking pleased. What were you arguing about with that demoness? Oh, she wanted to buy my beautiful Asima's concubines for her palace of pleasures, the 10,000 delights. Unfortunately, her common sense and good taste couldn't compete with her greed. She offered me a paltry price, next to nothing, instead of gratefully paying the full sum for these slaves, offering 30,000 for a group of innocent, pure Asimars shipped here with the utmost care. No one has laid a single finger on them. No one has taken a single bite out of them. They're simply outrageous. Who are you? I am Dionk, the slave trader. When I was younger and much more slimmer, I was a dashing raider. I spent my days abducting concubines from other planes for the harems of the most powerful lords of the abyss. My experience, however, has shown me that raising and training pleasure slaves from an early age is a much more profitable and much less risky business. That's why I now own the largest and most respectable slave farm, where I breed representatives of various races from different planes. Though I haven't entirely given up the raiding. His deceptively slow movement and soft folds of flesh. I'm going to read that again. His deceptively slow movements and soft folds of flesh fail to hide the powerful muscles beneath. This demon could likely lift a wagon with 2 horses by himself. There's a certain pragmatic elegance in the way these slavers arrange their everyday routines. Every trouble can be solved with a most simple and effective tool: violence. The legalized enforcements of obedience. Show me what you have for sale. Just feast your eyes on them. The most exquisite pleasure slaves raised in comfort and luxury at your service. They are well trained, neat, docile, and stand ready to become ideal servants for your manor. All of them are young and healthy, in a perfect state of ripeness. The demon bursts into sickening cackling, and then whispers to you confidentially, "Of course. We have made sure that their tender flesh meets the expectations of even the most demanding gourmet. They have no inkling of what awaits them, so you need not worry about fear spoiling the meat, making it tough and bitter. Beautiful, athletic, and well-groomed young men and women of different races smile sweetly at you. Their cheerful looks are marred with the slightest hint of intelligence. These slaves remind you of happy and well-fed sheep grazing in pasture." The slaver's eye widens, and he starts to speak, nearly hyperventilating. "Just recently, one of my slave hunting crews returned, bringing me a most beautiful gift. A group of young, fresh, pure Asima girls full of mouth-watering innocence. All of them are beauties in their prime, caught with the utmost care, unwounded. Shamira will take an interest in them, I would wager. Because of her origin, she loves having her fun with Asimas. There are countless ways one can use such a valuable acquisition. Although, if you ask me, the smartest way is to treat yourself to a medium-rare fillet with rich, meaty gravy." The Asima women look pale and scared, but even in captivity they manage to retain their dignity and refuse to let the demon savor their fear. As Triunk continues his nauseating commentary, they raise their chins higher and do their best to maintain cold, detached expressions. So I'm not sure if we can buy both, but these Asima slaves were obviously raised without a mind, without education, without talking. I'm not even sure if you could call them personalities. And these are people that were ripped out of life, so we're going to save them first and buy your pleasure slaves. Slaver stretches his lips in a predatory grin. "It's been a long time since I last had Nahindrian goods such as these for sale, if you know what I mean. They cost you 25,000 gold coins." The slaves exchange pleased whispers as they hear the high price their master has asked for them. These poor mortals do not even realize they are no better than cattle. When the time comes for them to be led to the slaughter, their minds will not grasp that their kind master has reared them for torment and death. Anyone who makes a deal with a demon looks exactly like them in the end. Naive fool, mocked by all because they do not know the knife awaits. Why did you call them Nahindrian? Smacking his lips, the demon answers in a saccharine voice. When we say Nahindrian, we mean of the finest quality, that's all. Everyone in the city keeps talking about some Nahindrian crystals that grant immense power, but no one can say what they really are. The only thing we know is that they exist, and their owners suddenly become unbelievably powerful. But as long as no one knows what they really are, you can call anything Nahindrian, you see. We have a deal. Excellent. I strongly recommend keeping the slaves on a diet of local ocean mollusks. This will help them stay athletic and fit. It also gives their meat a pleasantly spicy and musky taste. What the? The demon adds the last phrase in a whisper, shooting you a nasty grin. These poor souls raised by demons like cattle for the slaughter. You have broken their golden chains. At first they will hate the harsh world you have delivered them into, but only because they are so naive. I, however, celebrate your compassion. Perfect. And I buy the Asima slaves. Oh, I see you are a connoisseur. I'd like to warn you that these little birds will cost you a pretty penny. Their price scared off the madam of the 10,000 delights, but for Shamira, to whom I intended to sell these fresh Asima beauties, 50,000 to spare change. I'm willing to sell them to you for the same price. If we do not intervene, these women will be doomed by the celestial blood that flows in their veins. There is nothing but tantalizing for a demon that befouling, abusing, and destroying any being with ties to the upper planes. We have no right to stand by and leave these unfortunates to a terrible fate of torture and death. Deal? The fat demon glows with happiness. Ah, you won't regret it. In the abyss, goods like these are a rarity. I wish you the most exquisite enjoyment out of your purchase. If you wish, I can give you an excellent recipe for braised shanks. Just send one of your household slaves along to pick it up. What the... The demon looks at you, winks at you, and looks at the Asimas with palpable longing. The slaves stare at you with a mixture of hope and fear in their eyes. Their face drains of color as they wait for you to seal their fate. Whisper direction, yes. Find the way to my camp. The Asima women look at you, their expressions piercing. You see a mixture of gratitude and awe in their eyes. Thank you, stranger. We did not expect any help in this terrible place. We will not forget it. You did a noble thing when you did not abandon the weak in their hour of need. You have my deepest respect. Why didn't we buy the pleasure slaves? Ah, the slaves smile happily at you. Our new master. We're so happy to belong to you. We're going to live in a palace now, yes? How may we entertain you? Ember smiles sweetly at the slaves, and they respond with trusting, vacant smiles of their own. Don't worry, we will take you to a truly good place. It doesn't look like any other place you're used to. At first, you'll feel uncomfortable, but you'll grow to love it. It's my camp. No, we have a lot of good stuff that we've done, so we need lawful. Otherwise our alignment will change, we lose our angelic power, our paladin power, dual alignment. It's my camp. You will serve me there. Hurrah, new palace. Is it somewhere high in the mountains, I wonder? Are there many guards? How is the food? Is there a pool where we can swim in tortoise milk? Ah, these poor souls raised by demons like cattle for the slaughter. You've broken their golden chains. At first they will hate the harsh world you have delivered them into, but... okay. I'd say we're done here. Nothing else for us to do in this flesh market. Let's see... can we do anything with him? Ah. That's a story for next episode.